Hi, this is Rachelle from Rivet Patterns, and in this video we're going to be talking about shoulder length adjustments in a Raglan sleeve. So if you need more information about shoulder lengths, go look up the set in sleeve videos. It gives you more information because this is what we're looking at when we're looking at shoulder length. The shoulder length is from the neck point to the outer seam where the sleeve connects on the shoulder. This length should be where you raise your arm in the air and you will feel a crease at the top of your shoulder between your shoulder and your collarbone. That is the length of your shoulder. If you were making a pattern with a set in sleeve, that would be the point you're aiming for. Now, what's different about a Raglan sleeve is that because the neck point, the sleeve is part of the neck, your shoulder point is somewhere in here. So how do you change this without changing everything else? And I will show you. Now, these changes are typically quite minimum because shoulder length shouldn't be an inches adjustment. We're talking fractions of inches. So we're going to draw some lines to start with here. So the first line, hang on one second, before we do anything, I'm drawing their seam allowances. A lot of times I skip it, and I know I shouldn't because it's not the correct way of doing it, but so I'm just going to sketch in seam allowance. Rivet Patterns uses 3/8, but whatever your, so just very approximate kind of. Okay, so the first line we need to draw is across the fullest part, which is here to here, and we're going to draw it from seam allowance to seam allowance. Okay. Now we're going to draw lines from the center point, which is approximately here. We're going to draw your first line about halfway up the back of the sleeve. This is the back arm side. Okay. Do the same thing on the other side, approximately halfway. Okay. And then the last one, I go right up to that, right where the neckline is here. Okay, so we have several pivot points. Pretty much all of the ends of these are going to be pivot points. So here, 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 and here. Now with the seam allowances drawn in, you have to make hinges from both sides. This is why a lot of the time I will actually remove the seam allowances, do the adjustment, and then add them back in, but it takes extra steps. Okay, so we're going to start by snipping in from all your outside. Snip in just to the pivot point. Ink all over my hands from doing this. Okay, now we can start the cutting. So we want to cut across this line, but we don't want to cut through on either side because we still need it to pivot. So it's a little complicated to get your scissors in there, so I just use my rotary cutter and give myself a start. That's a paper rotary cutter, by the way. I have different ones for fabric. It's a great hack if you haven't tried it. Use one of those to cut out your paper patterns. So you want to get in here as close as you can without snipping through. Okay? If you do snip through, it's not a big deal. Just grab some tape, retape it, recut it. Okay, and go in both sides. So there's the first of our 2 inches. Okay? Now we are going to cut from here to here. Like that. So we're starting to get some movement in here. And we're going to cut the other side to the opposite arm side. Okay. And then lastly, cut up to the neck point. There we go. So now we have a lot of movement in here. So we can go ahead and make our adjustments. For a broad shoulder adjustment, we are going to want to spread our pieces apart. So let's see, if say we want to add a 1/4 inch, we're going to take, there's your front and here's your back, and you're going to pull them slightly apart. Now you see, as you pull, these want to hinge and overlap, and that's what we want them to do. So we want to overlap that by approximately a 1/4 inch, and then we're going to do the same on the other side by approximately a 1/4 inch. So you can see in doing so that you spread this part here. So this is where your shoulder is. So you've made from here to here longer and gives you a little bit more space for your shoulder to pull up. That's all there is to it. Put some paper behind this, trace it out, and make your raglan.